there is no way something should be able to crawl this slow. What? It's not going to climb that as well, is it, at that speed? No way. This is some serious Harry Potter shit. If you follow the channel, you'll know that I really do like my mini crawlers. This is a 1/24 scale Axial SCX-24, and on today's video we've got something special for this. We've got a little upgrade for it, and I think a lot of you are going to be interested to see how it gets on. So like I've said, I do like my mini crawlers 1/24, 1/18 scale, and I'd have to say that this one, the little SCX-24, probably sits, it's got to be I'd say it's the best out of all the minis that you can buy. And I haven't really given it much airtime on the channel, and I should have. But in today's video, that's going to change. I've already put a few little upgrades, some little brass upgrades that we'll talk about. But the main event is fitting this Furitek brushless setup, and I'm hoping it's going to be awesome once we've got this in. I mean, it's awesome anyway, but surely this is going to make it even better. So before we get that brushless setup out and have a talk about that, just quickly update you on this, because the last time you saw this it had some cool 3D printed tracks on it, whereas now it's got little brass steering hubs and some brass hexes as well, wheel weights. It's also got the weights on the back as well. I've not tested these out yet, but I know from experience that as soon as you start putting little wheel weights and stuff on, especially a little bit more weight at the front, it just changes the performance of these crawlers. Not just this size, but big crawlers as well. So I know it's going to be a decent upgrade. Other than that, it is completely stock out the box. Before I fit all that in, I will refresh you on how this goes straight out of the box, i.e. the electronics, the noise, the modulation, and like climbing. Obviously climbing, it's got the weights on, but just so you can get a feel for how it is stock. I think when we put this on, the three characteristics are going to change: the noise, the modulation, like the crawling, and just how it climbs because of that modulation. Anyway, so this is the ultimate brushless conversion kit, where you get spur gear, pinion, the bracket to fit the SCX-24, and this cool little Outrunner motor. Now I'm going to leave some links in the description for all of this, because this was sent to me by Furitek, and I haven't looked at all the information yet, which, let's be honest, is nothing new that I've not read up on anything, but I will leave links in the description. This might be the Komodo motor. Then to go there, we've got this Furitek Lizard brushed and brushless ESC. It says on there SCX-24 with Bluetooth. Before we get all that out, let's just refresh you then on how this runs with the stock motor and electronics in it. So the thing with this, it's really controllable stock out of the box because of the worm gears that it uses rather than conventional ring and pinion. Again, I'm not going for how steep this can go just yet. I know it's got the brass on it. It's just really to get an idea and a feel for how controllable it is with the current setup, and to listen to it as well. Right, time to pull it apart and get all this in it. So there's the original gearbox stripped down. Just got to take that motor plate off. That's the new motor plate that comes with it. Alloy spur, that is like really light. There's your pinion, and then your hex bolts for your motor. Look at the difference in size of these. Look. There's the original one, and there's the little I say little Outrunner. It's massive compared to that. It's going to be an absolute beast in this. Now this isn't going to be a simple plug and play. I think you have to do a little bit of trimming where the original ESC receiver combo goes. But other than that, I think just trimming that should be enough. Either way, it's going to be awesome, right? I'm going to get this mounted, and then I'll come back once the gearbox is together so you can see that. Then I think what we'll do is get it bench tested, so I'll set the electronics up on the bench just so we can make sure it all works before we fit it into the truck. So we are all plumbed in now. There's two options. You can either plug the Lizard ESC directly into your own electronics, so your own receiver, and use your own transmitter, or you've got the option of using the stock electronics. You can plug the ESC in, and basically you're just using this as a receiver, which means you can use the stock transmitter. So the ESC function of this is bypassed with the Lizard one. Anyway, here's the motor, and just to confirm, this is the Komodo motor. I wasn't sure at first when I got sent it, but I have confirmed that this is the Komodo motor. Cool names, aren't they? Lizard and Komodo. Really easy to do with the supplied motor plate. Initially when I put it on, I had the spur, I think it's sided. I had it the other way around, and when I was turning this it was a little bit notchy, whereas I flipped the spur over, now it's nice and smooth. Anyway, let's plug the battery in and I will show you how well this operates. So this has got the Bluetooth module attached to it, and you can download an app on your phone. Right, so you can see that the throttle went to 0 there because I've calibrated the throttle. I've got startup power on low. I've got startup power on low, punch level on 1, and here it is. Just leave that like that ready. Just touch it very gently. Look at that, look how slow that is. So what I found with this is on startup, that's what it's like. Now when you increase the throttle, it does increase slightly, and there's a slight jump. You'll see it in a minute. There you go. So you go from like a startup to running, that's what I want to call it. It's not as noticeable. Once you get used to the throttle control, actually the transition between that startup and the actual run in there isn't quite as much of a jump as it first looks. But this is going to be, look at that. This is going to be so awesome with the low control. And like I mentioned, loads of functions here. What I like is the telemetry. So if you put the telemetry up, you can then actually see. So if you watch the throttle now, the throttle's on sort of 10%, and we've got that start up. But if you actually look at the RPM, it's still showing 0. So that RPM doesn't start until you pass this first initial bit, which I find a little bit strange. I'm not sure why. But you get to about 20%, just over 20% throttle, which we're just coming up to now, and then you'll see the RPM. There you go. So just over 20% throttle, and the RPM starts to register. It must just be a software thing, I'm not sure, but anyway, either way, what a cool feature. Right, let's get it mounted in the truck and give it its first little test on the bench, and then we're going to take it out for a proper run. So unfortunately you do have to cut, well the way I'm mounting it, you do have to cut where the stock ESC or stock electronics sit. And the problem with cutting that is you then cut some of the mounting positions off, and it just means your suspension will pivot now. So what you need to do, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to get just a little, probably like a small turnbuckle, and just fix it there. Fix it just on the back of the bumper there, and that should just give that a bit more rigidity, stop it from moving backwards and forwards. Right, it is all plumbed in now. It did take a little bit of time to get it all in there. So gearbox and motor mounted there. Now what I had to do, I mean you can get some small, or some little tiny like micro and mini receivers, which would be ideal, but put a little cable extension on, and I've got the receiver up the back there. A few zip ties, cable ties, just to tidy the wiring up, and it is in now. Now it's a little party trick. Watch this. Just touch the throttle. is moving. Look how slow it's moving. It's absolutely crazy. Watch this as well. It's not just able to crawl that slow. It's able to climb that slow as well. You can just see the motor in there spinning. Looks so cool. Look at it. Look at that. You can go slower as well. Oh, we need to take this out for a run. So first of all, let's just look at that slow control again. You can hardly see it moving, look. And it'll go slower than that. That's about as slow as I can go. It's absolutely ridiculous. Oh, this is so cool. Really silent as well. You can actually hear the steering servo more than any of the other electronics on this. Very, very impressive. Obviously pretty stock here, stock wheels and tyres, stock suspension. We do need to massively upgrade this, don't we? I think that's the next job. If you need a bit of wheel speed, it's got some. That's full throttle. Plenty for a mini crawler. And then back down to super slow. This SCX24, like I mentioned on the last video when we had the tracks on it, I've not given it enough airtime. It deserves so much more. Definitely going to be looking into some beadlock alloys and some better tyres for it, but still copes fine, even stock. Look at that. How good is that crawling? Anyway, sit back guys, relax. I will put some nice calming music on for you now, and you can watch this thing carry on for a little bit more with some nice slow, oh what? You ruined me end. Come on, there we go. Some nice slow crawling.
There comes a time I won't belong on these streets, in these crowds, in this room, in your eyes, and you no longer know whether to stay or to go. If you should take me or leave me, rusty and bleeding, or over on the floor. Well, hours will be hours. I'll slip right through your hand. Doesn't matter what you wish for. Doesn't matter